right, on to our first story on the show. Russia and India are aiming to take their bilateral ties and elevate them from their present status. And for this, President Vladimir Putin is set to visit India soon. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov confirmed and stated that arrangements are underway for President Putin's visit to India, though he did not disclose the specific dates or the months that this trip is likely to take place. The invitation for this visit was extended by Prime Minister Modi during his trip to Russia last year, and this will mark President Putin's first visit since the onset of the Ukraine conflict in 2022. February. The visit is expected to advance Putin's new economic roadmap for 2030. So what all could be on the agenda in terms of defense ties, in terms of economic partnerships, common minimum programs, whether it is in terms of the Indo-Pacific or several other areas, technology being another common area. Let's get in Mohammad Ghazali to fill us in with what all could be the top priorities for this visit and how significant it will be for the India-Russia relationship. Ghazali, you're on mute. Okay, I believe there was a technical glitch there. Let's get in Professor Anuradha Chinoy, International Affairs expert, former Dean of the Center for Russian and Central Asian Studies at the SIS at JNU. Always a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Talk to us about the significance of this visit. Comes at a time when Russia-India relationship is also being elevated due to many factors, geopolitical being one of them.
Absolutely. Number one, I think Russia and India and President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov have both over the past 2 years have said that this strategic partnership with India is extremely important to them. They're actually very grateful that India took the kind of stand it did of being neutral in during the what they call the special military operations. India did not kind of criticize them overtly in the United Nations or when they were, sort of temporary members of the Security Council. They continued trade, bilateral visits, and overall, the Indian political class and the Indian leadership have understood why this special military operation took place. They understood. And so I think these ties are on an upswing. And there are several things that are likely to be on the agenda. Now, I mean, I can...
Absolutely. I'm going to come to you about the defense partnership in it, but I want to quickly rope in my colleague Mohammad Ghazali back with us to talk more about the specifics of this visit, when it could happen, anything specific in terms of the agenda that's lined up. Tell us more.
See, Gaurie, today Dr. Jaishankar also participated in an Indo-Russia summit wherein Mr. Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, had announced that how Mr. Putin is scheduled to come here. The dates are not announced yet, but it is going to be later in this year. And Dr. Jaishankar said that emerging areas of collaboration such as trade, technology, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, connectivity, and the digital economy could be the new points of collaboration. We know that how, as the professor was explaining, that how Russia has been our very close defense partner. And all this while, when the West and US were criticizing India for engaging with Russia, while everybody was calling for its sanctions, India continued its trade. India continued with its ties with Russia. And Prime Minister Modi also happens to be the only leader from the global south who could talk to Mr. Putin and Mr. Zelensky both. Mr. Putin himself have said on many occasions that how India could play the role of a peacemaker or could bring both the parties to the table. So considering all this and the kind of bonhomie Mr. Modi enjoys with Mr. Putin, it is going to be a very significant visit. Last year in July, Mr. Modi visited Russia and we had the Indo-Russia summit there, and that summit will yet again be hosted here in India once Mr. Putin visits later this year.
All right, let's leave it there. Mohammad Ghazali joining us to connect the dots for us. Professor Chinoy, you heard what Ghazali was telling us in terms of the context of this visit, why it's significant. But I want to understand from you the geopolitical factors apart. Defense and economic, both aspects of the India-Russia relationship are extremely important. Where do you see the priorities lie, and what would you be looking out for when this visit takes place?
Well, look, there are several things. Number one, defense. Defense, I think Russia has proved itself that it has very superior kind of technology, and the world has witnessed it during this war. India takes 36% of its defense needs from Russia, which has declined because India has diversified and is also buying weapons from France and England and the US, etc. But this 36% is a solid amount. And the other thing is that India and Russia have these joint productions, which have been very successful, like the BrahMos, the T-90 tanks, etc., where there has been transfer of technology which doesn't come from other countries. So high-end technology is what Russia gives to India, and India benefits from that, and both have benefited. So they're exporting, for example, military technologies to Philippines and others.
Yes.
So that's one. Second, on trade, I think Prime Minister Modi himself has said that this trade needs to go up. This is a weak point, and there is an asymmetry on it. We are importing much more because our gas imports from Russia have increased massively by something like 40% in 1 year, because we were able to get cheap Russian gas.
Yes.
The crude, and then re-export it after refining it.
Indeed.
So India has been a beneficiary, but that is likely to continue because I've seen that the 10-year contracts have been signed on this. So it's not just in the past, it goes into the future.
Absolutely.
Third, the third, Russia has accumulated a lot of Indian rupees because we are exporting so much hydrocarbons, and they want to invest it here. But a process has to be put in place. Of course, there are the Vostro accounts. So there are Russian banks,
Yes.
a Sberbank, which are functional here because of RBI has given this.
Yes.
Several countries have these Vostro accounts. But because of sanctions, there have been fears of Indian companies, rightly so, because they feared this. But you can see there is a reset happening in India, in US, Russia. So this is going to benefit India a lot.
Lifting of those sanctions is, of course,
and
going
if the
to
reset happens.
Absolutely, pave the way for more collaboration between Russia and India. Thanks so much, Professor Chinoy, for speaking to us on that.